Come to Nehemiah. So here's a little dumb. How about this? Here's some background. First, we're talking about hometown heroes today. Choosing to pursue your purpose. Hometown heroes choosing to pursue your purpose. Me choosing to pursue my purpose. So some background. So in 1000 BC, King David is reigning in Israel. 1000 BC. That's a bit ago, right? 960 BC, King Solomon, his son, is reigning over Israel. And after he is done, it splits, right? Northern kingdoms, southern kingdoms. It's a country divided. 721, the northern kingdoms are conquered, completely decimated by the Assyrians. 10 tribes of Israel, gone. Don't know where they went. In 701, the Assyrians start coming after Jerusalem. They start sieging, laying siege to the city, and they're just like, we're going to get you. No, you're not. We got walls. Yeah, but you're going to have to come out sometime. They just go back and forth for a while. For years. Some kings, they bow down. Other kings try to stand up. But it goes back and forth until finally in 605, Daniel and his homies, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and all the other princes and basically the smartest people of the country get taken away. Completely gone. Completely gone. Later on, I know this sounds like a history lesson. I'm fine with that. I'm a nerd. And I have the mic, so you have to listen to what I have to say. 597 BC, Ezekiel, that's a book in the Bible. Ezekiel and 10,000 other Israelites, other Jews get taken away. So each time they're taking more people out. The first time I'm like, okay, who's your smartest? Like, who's your doctors? Who's your lawyers? Who's the smartest people among you? Yeah, we're taking them. They're going to be our doctors, our lawyers. We're taking over that. And then you can survive for a while, then all of a sudden they come back. It's like, you know what? We want, who's the next people on? Who's the leadership? Who's the people that people will follow? Very charismatic. Who are the hard workers? Yeah, we want you too. And all of a sudden all those are taken away. It's a rough day for Israel. Finally, in 586 BC, the southern kingdoms are conquered and taken into captivity. Jerusalem is sacked. It's destroyed. The temple is destroyed. All the golden things, the silver things that are left after all these occupations and all that, it all just gets taken away as loot. Jerusalem's no more. I mean, it's a husk of a city. And if you were to look at it back then, it's like, man, and the people that were left there just kind of like to fend for themselves. No protection. No way to feel secure. And when you're not secure, it's kind of hard to make a living when you're worried about dying. It's kind of hard to go about your daily life, like to try to do something for you and for your family, to make something of yourself if you're worrying about if I'm going to make it through this day. And that's kind of what's happening in Jerusalem. And this captivity, starting with the Babylonians and moving through, this is 70 years of Israel just in bondage. In bondage. Slaves. In 538 BC, Zerubbabel. That's a fun name. Say that 3 times fast. Zerubbabel. Now I'm not going to be able to say it right. Zerubbabel brings back Israelites to Jerusalem. He gets a decree. And he gets to come back. And under his governorship over Israel, they rebuild the temple for the most part. And it's an awesome day. Hey, they can worship again. For 70 years, they couldn't worship. That's nuts. Think about it. You know what? You don't have to be in this building in order to worship God. We're glad you're here. We're glad you're online joining us. But nevertheless, you don't have to be here. You don't have to be, in this building with this music. But there is something about coming together as a group of people say, you know what? Let's all believe in hope together. Let's all believe in God doing something amazing together. Let's all worship God for the things He's brought us through. We're still here. We might be still going through it, but we're still alive. We're still kicking. We're still making it. We're still pushing through. There's something about that. But even that, you could be anywhere. You could pray to God anywhere. You can worship God anywhere. At this time, these 70 years, there's no worship at all. until the temple's rebuilt. It takes them about 30 years. From 537 to 516, the temple is being rebuilt. And then last, in 445 BC, Nehemiah, we get this book. And it's crazy because it starts off with a guy that's gone through some junk. He's basically a slave. He's a servant. Can't get out of it. Can't do anything about it. But it's awesome because he knows his people are trying to rebuild Jerusalem. The temple's being rebuilt, and it's going to be great. And it's like, oh man, this is great. Man, we're moving in the right direction. But then we go to Nehemiah 1. It says, the words of Nehemiah, son of Hakaliah, in the month of Kislev, in the 20th year, while I was in the citadel of Susa. That sounds fancy. Verse 2, Hanani, one of my brothers, came from Judah with some other men, and I questioned them about the Jewish remnant that survived the exile, and also about Jerusalem. Yo, how is my hometown doing? It's awesome, right? It's doing good. I know it's doing good. Temple's rebuilt. That's awesome. It's great, right? He's excited. Even though he's actually never lived there. He's excited about his hometown. Then we get verse 3. They said to me, those who survived the exile and are back in the province are in great trouble and disgrace. The wall of Jerusalem is broken down and its gates have been burned with fire. So, how's Jerusalem doing? How's my hometown? It's not good. It's not good. It's not good. His heart breaks. He prays. When I heard these things, verse 4, I sat down and wept for some days. I mourned and fasted and prayed before the God of heaven. Then I said, O Lord, God of heaven, the great and awesome God, who keeps his covenant of love with those who love him and obey his commands. Verse 4, when I heard these things, I sat down and wept for some days. I mourned and fasted. Then he prayed. It's interesting. It's almost like he heard what was going on. He said, God, you got to do something here. God, you got to do something here. I mean, my city, it's destroyed. It's not doing good. God, you got to do something right now. And all of a sudden, I think God begins to birth a plan in Nehemiah in this short little passage. Because he starts seeking God. And then we get this prayer. He seeks God. What are we going to do about this, God? How can we move forward? I need to know because, God, I can't live with this heartbreak. My city, my hometown. It says, we all hear it. We know it's happening. Verse 5. Then I said, O Lord, God of heaven, the great and awesome God, who keeps his covenant of love with those who love him and obey his commands. Verse 6. Let your ear be attentive and your eyes open to hear the prayer your servant is praying before you day and night for your servants, the people of Israel. And then it gets rough. I confess the sins we Israelites, including myself and my father's house, have committed against you. We have acted very wickedly toward you. We have not obeyed the commands, decrees, and laws you gave your servant Moses. Remember the instruction you gave your servant Moses, saying, if you are unfaithful, I will scatter you among the nations. But if you return to me and obey my commands, then even if your exiled people are at the furthest horizon, I will gather them from there and bring them to this place I have chosen as a dwelling for my name. It's interesting. God, man, He just gets real. We've sinned against you. I haven't kept your decrees. I haven't been living right. God, you said, remember? You said that if we disobey, you scatter. But remember, you also said, remember you said that if we turn back to you, you'll gather us back. God, I'm just asking you to gather. God, gather us back. God, do something amazing. I need you to step in here. You know what's funny is, this is more so with my middle daughter, but all my kids have done this. Which is to remind me of things that I have promised them so that I will then do them. And I hate it when they remind me because I don't want to do it. Okay, I'm the only one that does that? Fine. Again, I'm the sinner. You guys are awesome. But that's what Nehemiah's doing here. God, remember you said. Yeah, he acknowledged it. Like the first part of the prayer is an acknowledgement. We've messed up. We've turned. I've turned. And you said, you already told us what would happen, and it's happened. I appreciate that. That is, hey, you're true to your word. But if you're also true to your word, remember, we're turning back now. So could you do the second half of that promise? Is that okay? Could you hook us up? Because we could really use your help right now. Verse 10, they are your servants and your people whom you redeemed by your great strength and your mighty hand. Verse 11, O Lord, let your ear be attentive to the prayer of this your servant, and to the prayer of your servants who delight in revering your name. Give your servant success today by granting him favor in the presence of this man. And we have that one sentence, I was a cupbearer to the king. And this is the setup prayer. This is him just trying to jack himself up. Okay, it's go time. All right. Maybe he's playing Metallica to really get him jazzed up, What, none of you heard Metallica? Again, let's see how it is. Okay, I appreciate that, sir. I was a wrestling manager. I was around wrestling my whole life. Dad's a wrestler. My brother's a wrestler. I was a manager because I was not going to cut weight. What has two thumbs and didn't have to spit to lose a pound of weight? This guy. Oh. But I remember that point of before a match, and I'm down there with the guys, and like they're playing the loud blared music. It's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. You're just getting jazzed up. And this is his jazzed up prayer right here, because he knows what he's supposed to do. He knows his purpose. And he's getting ready. He's like, all right, God, you said this. Okay, now give me some favor, some favor, because it's go time. It's go time right now, God. I really need your help, because I'm a cupbearer for the king. And he knows this guy can help him fulfill his purpose. Chapter 2. In the month of Nisan, in the 20th year of King Artaxerxes, another good name, when wine was brought for him, I took the wine and gave it to the king. I had not been sad in his presence before. So he's a jolly guy. Maybe he's telling some jokes. That's why maybe he didn't get murdered by the king because, he's kind of like a jester. Hey, how's it going? Oh, I'm sick. Just kidding. It's fine. Drink the wine. He's having a good time. I had not been sad in his presence before. He took his job serious. Hey, I'm not trying to get murdered here. I'm going to be a good cupbearer. Verse 2, so the king asked me, why does your face look so sad when you are not ill? This can be nothing but sadness of heart. I was very much afraid, but I said to the king, may the king live forever. Why should my face not look sad when the city where my fathers are buried lies in ruins, and its gates have been destroyed by fire? The king said to me, what is it you want? Okay, this guy. Okay, what do you want from me? Yeah, you're sad. Okay. Come out with it. What do you want me to do? That's funny. That's a weird way of saying it. Because let's be honest, if you know a guy that's funny or a girl that's like always joking and all of a sudden they're not joking, it's different. It changes the room a little bit. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Just, tummy issues. I don't know. But nevertheless, you notice when somebody's not joking around anymore. It says that in verse 4, the second half of it, then I prayed to the God of heaven and answered the king. Okay, God, here we go. Give me some favor. If it pleases the king, and if your servant has found favor in his sight, let him send me to the city in Judah where my fathers are buried so that I can rebuild it. That whole prep time, the whole getting ready time. Okay, God, my heart is breaking for my hometown. You got to send somebody. I am going to send you. Okay, God, who else are you going to send instead of me? No? How about my cousin Pete? What about Junebug? I'm just joking. That's a southern name. I love it, though. I love saying it. Junebug. That's funny. Anyways, Nehemiah. I apologize. Nehemiah. God, I got to be honest, I just have a sneaking suspicion. Again, this is not in the Bible. This is according to Josh. But I wonder if those amount of days was literally him going, okay, God telling him, okay, you're going to do something about it. Okay, God, that sounds great, but let's talk this over a little bit. And it took him 3 days to kind of get up the courage to say, okay, fine, I'll do something about it. Fine, I'm going. And he prays the prayer to get pumped. And he goes before the king and is freaking out. And finally he comes to this. Verse 6, then the king with the queen sitting beside him asked me, how long will your journey take, and when will you get back? It pleased the king to send me, so I set a time. He gets favor. He gets favor. Notice he doesn't get to stay in Jerusalem, though. He's never going to reap the benefit of this. But he doesn't care, because his heart hurts. His heart hurts for his hometown, and he's going to do something about it. He's not going to receive the benefit. I can't stress that enough. He's put his life on the line. He knows he doesn't get anything, but his people do. His city does. His hometown does. So it pleased the king, may I have letters to the governors of the Trans-Euphrates, so that they will provide me safe conduct until I arrive in Judah? And may I have a letter to Asaph, keeper of the king's forest, so he will give me timber to make beams for the gates of the citadel, by the temple and for the city wall and the residence I will occupy. And he goes on and on. He starts saying, hey, can I get some letters of reference so people know I'm allowed to be here. I need my permits, God. Or, well, God, yes, but King, I need my permits from you so that I can rebuild the temple, rebuild the gates and the walls and everything. And nobody can mess with me because I got my permit. Those of you contractors, you need your permits, right? Did you pull your permits? I pulled my permits. Okay, you're allowed to do this. So he gets even a small army, and he gets to go. Verse 9, so I went to the governors of Trans-Euphrates and gave them the king's letters. The king had also sent army officers and cavalry with me. So he gets help. He gets provision. He gets resources. All because, again, that setup time. Okay, fine, God, I'll do something about it. But you're going to have to help me. And then he realizes, I'm the cupbearer for the king. Man, this is scary, but I'm going to go for it. And then verse 10. Oh, when Sanballat, that's a fun name, the Horonite and Tobiah the Ammonite official heard about this, they were very much disturbed. Disturbed is not a happy term, right? That's not something I say, it's like, babe, do you love me? I'm so disturbed by you. It doesn't work like that. You disturb me. Think of that, if Tom Cruise had said that at the end of the movie. Not you complete me, you disturb me. Oh, just so. It's a great line. We're disturbed that someone had come to promote the welfare of the Israelites. Right now, the Israelites are struggling, and they're upset that somebody's coming and caring about it. That's weird. That's weird. Why do you care that they're trying to help somebody? Why are you disturbed by it? Why are you upset about it? That's interesting. Closest I can tell from reading the book is they're benefiting from the subjugation of the Israelites. They're benefiting in some way. As long as they're down, I'm good. But somebody comes and helps them, my position is threatened, and I don't like it. I want the status quo. Keep it the same. We've been doing it this way for this long. Don't change it. And I can't help but think of some of the... For 7 years, by the way, in Denver, I helped kids get into and through college. That was my job. It was literally my job. And while I was doing it, man, I heard just heartbreaking stories of young men, young women who decided, you know what? They might not have had the best grades. They might not have the best of backgrounds, meaning like, they just struggled. Their parents are working, but they're just going through it. And hearing stories of them talking to their cousins, hey man, I'm going to college. What do you think, you're better than me now? What do you think? What are you doing there? Hearing stuff like, why are you going to that white man's school? That's gross. You think you're better than me? You think you're better than me because you're going to college? That's gross. Why do we do that, though? Why do we do that? And I'm going to put it on us. Why do we do that? I know there are moments When I see somebody eating right and exercising, I was like, think you're better than me because, you're exercising and eating kale while I have this double cheeseburger? Think you're better than me? I mean, you're going to have a better lifestyle and live longer, but hey, you think you're better? You're not better than me. Can you kick my butt? No, see, I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean? We do that, though. Why is that? Why do we do this? Why do we get upset when somebody tries to do something with their life, right? Like, again, if they feel called to, if they need to. If somebody goes, man, I'm going to college, is our first response to go, that's awesome. Or is our first response to go, oh, you'll never make it? Why do we do that? Closest I can tell, when somebody's making a choice, doing action, doing something about it, we get disturbed because most of the time, it's because of our own inaction. Most of the time. I'm not saying every time. Most of the time I feel like if I get upset, and I have, look, again, I'm a broken human being too. I see somebody working out, and they got the muscles and, everything that I want, so to speak. I'm like, that guy. He's dumb. And really, I'm just saying, I'm dumb. Because I know I could make a choice. I know I could choose to take action, and I don't. And I don't. Verse 11. I went to Jerusalem, and then after staying there 3 days, I set out during the night with a few men. I had not told anyone what my God had put in my heart to do for Jerusalem. Oh, that's kind of confirmation, isn't it? It was put in his heart to do something. Maybe that preparation time, right? That seeking out. God, my heart's broken for this situation. How do we fix up my hometown? I had not told anyone what my God had put in my heart to do for Jerusalem. There were no mounts with me except the one I was riding on, his horse. By night, I went out through the valley gate, and he basically circled the whole city to figure it out. Because he looks at the issue from every angle, because he had this plan. I'm going to rebuild the city walls. Now, how are we doing it? Because he didn't know. He didn't know the situation. He didn't know what it looked like until he got there. And so he goes at night, and he starts going around and figuring it out. It's like, okay, all right, that's them. It's like, okay, all right, how's the city laid out? All right. Okay. And at the end of this chapter, he starts telling his plan. He starts telling his plan. Okay, this is what we're going to do. Okay, here's the reason I've come. Okay, I've got resources. I've got money. I've got letters. We got this little small army. We're going to get this done. We're going to rebuild the city walls because we need this place to become better. We need this place to grow. We need this place to be what it should be. And again, he's never going to reap the benefit of it. So in verse 17 of chapter 2, then I said to them, you see the trouble we are in. Jerusalem lies in ruins, and its gates have been burned with fire. Come, let us rebuild the wall of Jerusalem, and we will no longer be in disgrace. I also told them about the gracious hand of my God upon me, and what the king had said to me. They replied, let us start rebuilding. So they began this good work. Verse 19, but when Sanballat and the Horonite, Tobiah the Ammonite official, and Geshem the Arab, new guy, heard about it, they mocked and ridiculed us. What is this you're doing? They asked. Are you rebelling against the king? Look at that. Starting rumors, drama. I answered them by saying, the God of heaven will give us success. We, his servants, will start rebuilding. But as for you, you have no share in Jerusalem or any claim or historical right to it. Again, insight. They were benefiting off of the poverty and the destruction of the city. You don't have a share in this. You're not going to reap any benefit here. We're going to rebuild these walls. We're going to do it. There's nothing you can do about it because God's with us. That's exciting. That is super exciting. So in chapter 3, we get this story. And I'll read the first few sentences. Eliashib, the high priest, and his fellow priests went to work and rebuilt the sheep gate. They dedicated it and set doors in place, building as far as the Tower of the 100, which they dedicated, and as far as the Tower of Hananel. The men of Jericho built the adjoining section, and Zakur, son of Imri, built next to them. And we get this catalog of, hey, these guys worked on this section, these guys worked on this section. Phil, you're over there. Brian, take care of it. Hey, Teddy! Okay, and they just start rebuilding the wall. But it's interesting, we have these small snippets where he keeps on saying, where they lived, that's where they built. So it wasn't like, you live in Clifton, you don't go all the way to Fruita to build the wall. No. You build the section that's closest to you. Here. In verse... where is it at? Verse 13, the valley gate was repaired by Hanam and the residents of Zoniah. They rebuilt it and put its doors and bolts and bars in place. They also repaired 500 yards of the wall as far as the dung gate. The dung gate was repaired by Machijah, son of Rechab, ruler of the district of Beth Hekrim. He rebuilt and put its doors, bolts, bars in place. The fountain gate was repaired by Shalom, son of Kol-Hezeth. Oh man, these names! Ruler of the district of Mizpah. He rebuilt it, roofing it over and putting its doors and bolts in place. He also repaired the wall of the pool of Siloam by the king's garden as far as the steps going down from the city of David. Beyond him, Nehemiah, son of Azbuk, ruler of the half district of Beth Zur, made repairs up to a point opposite the tombs of David, as far as the official pool and the house of heroes. Next to him, the repairs. Let's keep moving down. As far as next to him, so I repaired another section from the ankle edge of the house. Usually I'm not this unprepared. That was a joke, and that just makes me feel bad that you didn't laugh, so I don't like it. Verse 22, the repairs next to him were made by the priests from the surrounding region. Beyond them, Benjamin and Hashab made repairs in front of their house, and next to them, Ezra, son of Maaseh and son of Ananiah, made repairs beside his house. And over in this small section of Scripture, where they lived is where they rebuilt. Where they lived is where they rebuilt. Two things. One, short commute. That's nice. Right? I lived in Denver for 12 years. The last 3 years, my commute was 3 hours. It was brutal. I do not recommend it. Now my commute is 10 minutes. I like that much better. It's rough. It's rough. Much like the heat in this building. It's rough. But they rebuilt next to where they lived. Wherever they were, that's where they rebuilt. They didn't have to go far away. Because here's the other thing. What's going to be most important to you? Where you are. My house is here. That wall's down. I'm rebuilding that wall. It's a quick jot. If something happens, I can go right there. And it's all around the city it starts happening. All around the city. There's a back and forth. The guys that are upset about Jerusalem being rebuilt, they start coming. I was like, okay, they start spreading rumors. We're going to come get you. And I was like, no, don't worry about it. They start working with swords on their hips, like basically waiting and rebuilding. That's just, man, that's rough. It's hard enough to rebuild something. It's quite another to be rebuilding something and worrying if somebody's going to stab you. Finally, they get about halfway. People are freaking out. Okay, maybe we got this taken care of. It's going to be fine. And the other guys start freaking out because they're like, hey, they're almost there. So they start talking. It's like, we're going to kill them. We're going to get this small army together. We're going to go after them. And they come up with another plan. You know what? Wait for a sound blast. And if they're there, we'll move over there. We'll defend that part of the city. But we're going to finish this. And after 52 days, they complete. 52 days. That's fast. They rebuilt the wall. Now, I know this is a story about building a wall. It's a hot button topic right now. That's my political humor. You're welcome. But regardless on that issue, I don't view this as a story of them building a wall as much as rebuilding a city. Because if you don't feel safe, it's kind of hard to do something of yourself or help your family out if you're worried about what's going to happen today. If you don't feel safe, it's a struggle, to make a living, to buy a house. People working together to restore what has been destroyed or broken down. This is a great story, but here's the other thing. What about our story? What about our story? Because here's the deal. Nehemiah took action. He took action. My heart is breaking for this. I'm going to do something about it. There is no story without action. And our story becomes just a retelling of the bad things that happened to us if we don't take action. If we don't do something about it. If we don't move forward. There is no story without a rising action. So what is our rising action? What should we do? All these things are based on someone choosing to start. Yes, first, loving God and loving others. But second, choosing to do something about it. Take action. What do you see? What's going on? How can you help? Where do I go from here? All these things about taking action. We can look at our circumstance, just like I'm sure Nehemiah did. I'm a slave. You don't understand, you don't know the abuse I've gone through. You don't understand, man, my family didn't have a lot of money growing up. Or you don't understand, I've had this happen to me, I've had that happen to me. You don't understand. And maybe we're not even telling anybody this. We're just telling God, I can't do this. Because there's always something that can hold us back from choosing to do something. But if we dedicated our life for Christ, if we dedicated our life to His Word, if we said, okay, fine, I'm serving Jesus, I'm reading the Bible, you're going to figure this out, what is love driving us to do? What is love driving us to do? What is it driving you to take part in, to take action on behalf of? What is it driving us to do? When we look at the story of our lives, we can dwell on the negative, or we can choose to say, we're still here, we're still moving forward, and God has brought me through all that. Maybe I can. Maybe I can. Because here's the deal. You can look at, and we can look at our stories, our lives, and say, you know what? It's just retelling this happened to me, and this happened to me, and this happened to me, and this happened to me. Or we can choose to be the heroes of our own story. Not just to be a collection of circumstances, and this is how I've ended up here. But no, be the heroes of our own story, taking action. Okay, I've decided to serve God, and He's changing me from the inside, and now I'm going to go out there, and I'm going to do something about making this world a better place in whatever way and however I can. I don't want to be a helpless bystander. I don't want to just look at my life and go, yeah, I've lived 40 years, and I've done this and done that, but man, I think I'm done. It all starts with choice. First, the choice to love God and love others. That's where Nehemiah started. He loved God and loved others. My people, my hometown is in disarray. I don't like it. 2, recognizing a need. Where you live, where you are, almost like those men and women that were working on the tower. Where you live, what's going on? Whether it's Clifton, Fruita, Palisade, wherever you are, what is the need? What is breaking your heart? What is like, man, that's messed up. And what can you do about it? Where can you start? What are you good at? Think about that. It's like, okay, I see the need. Second, what are you good at? Where are you right now? Like, if I work on cars, great. Maybe you could get someone to donate cars fix them up, like old cars, fix them up, and then you give them to people that don't have a car, like single moms or something like that. I don't know. What can you do? What can we do? Pray and be real. God, I don't have it all together. I need you to give me favor, though, because I want to do this. I want to start this. God, man, it breaks my heart that this is a problem. It shouldn't be a problem. God, I want to do something about it. 4, don't expect someone else to do it. But also ask for help. Because if you're going to do anything that's lasting, anything that's permanent in this world, you can't do it by yourself. We can't do it by ourselves. And if you're curious, where do I get started? There's plenty of places around here. If you haven't noticed, we got the Hope Room, we got clothes, we got food that we give out on Saturdays, we got wages and helping parolees. That's awesome. We got all these other things, all these other ways you can get involved. If you're not sure quite where your start is yet, if you want to start praying about that, God, what is my purpose, and choosing to pursue that? How can I help? Start helping somewhere. And maybe that'll spark. Maybe that'll ignite something inside. He's like, you know what? Hey, maybe I could do this. 4, don't expect someone else to do it, but also work to get support. 5, assess the situation. Where do I start? And just start next to you. Maybe like the men and women that work in law. Start next to you. Where do you work? What do you do? What do you know how to do? Figure out some point of entry. Hey, I can do this. I can do this. And last, and it's the hardest step, start working. Start doing it. There will always be obstacles. There will always be difficulty. But if God has called you and I to do something, then let's get to it. Then let's get to it. So just so you know, this has been messing with me since we did the small groups last time, because we did a book called Love Does. And it basically, this is a sum up of a lot of that study. And for me, I was just thinking, it's like, okay, God, you brought me to Grand Junction. This is my hometown. This is my hometown. What need do I see? What could I help with? And one day, with my wife's help, I figured it out. For 7 years, I helped students get into college. So I'm going to start doing that here. So first step, if you know any student that's a senior, if you don't know anybody that's already graduated high school or got a GED and wants to go back to school, I'm here to help. We're going to have sessions. We're going to be doing stuff like how to fill out a college application, how to fill out the FAFSA, federal free application for federal student aid. We're going to do scholarships. We're going to do grants. We're going to talk about credit and how student loans work. Man, those things are scary, and you should be scared because no matter what happens, you can never get rid of them until you pay them off. That's fun. I want to feed everybody who comes, so you don't have to worry about that. I don't want anybody who's like, well, I have to go get something to eat. No. We got food for you here. Just come, learn, and figure it out together. Because that's the only thing. This is what I know how to do. Why shouldn't I do it here? Not that nobody's doing it in Grand Junction. There are schools and resource officers that are doing it, but we need more. And rather than complain, why aren't these people doing it? Why aren't they going out here? I could complain about that. It's like, why isn't it something doing about it? And then all of a sudden, God slaps you in the back of the head. Then you do it, dummy. If you're scared to be in front of people, we have online church. You can just type and be an extension of the pastoral care of this church. That's another shameless plug because I'm over that too. If you want to help me with helping kids get into college, I can teach you how to help people to get into college. It's not hard. It takes time, but it's not difficult. It's good work. I also need help. If you want to help me organize food and help with that, I'm down with that too. I could use help there. That's what I'm going to do. Because I can't look at my hometown and see a need and not do anything about it. What is God birthing in you? What is God even making you think about now? What do you need to do? Is it going back to school? Is it getting this type of training? Is it going in this direction? Whatever the case may be, whatever it is, let's get to it. Let's get to it. Because in the end, it is our choice to look at our community, to look at our world. It doesn't just have to be based here in Grand Junction. If all of a sudden, you know what, Colorado's struggling in this way. The United States is struggling in this way. The world is struggling in this way. Who cares where it is? What can you start now? Well, Josh, I can only do this little bit, or I can only do that. Okay, do that. Do the little thing. Who cares? Let's get started. Why not? Why not? Can that not little bit grow to something that's amazing and huge and makes this world a better place? Why not? Why not? It's our goal to find, it's my goal to continue to find my purpose and get to it. That is my prayer for us today. The basis for all this begins with loving God and loving others like we love ourselves. But I think the story of Nehemiah is how to do that. Okay, I love God. Great. Accepted in my heart. I love people. Great. I'm reading this word, figuring out how to live in this world. Now what? This is, I think, is the beginning of the how. Finding our purpose. God, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Let's get to it. God, what do you want me to do? Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Let's pray. Lord, as we have this short time of worship, and I just pray that you'd help us to reflect, Lord, that even right now your Holy Spirit would begin to birth or even rebirth in people's hearts a purpose. Even just a little one where we can all help. Whatever it may be, Lord God. That we can all partner together to do little things, Lord God, to see something great in this world, in your name and for your glory. Lord God, in this short time, do that for us. Do that in our hearts.